Let the dragon consume you! Enemy sighted. Stop the payload! Stop the payload! In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Birdwatcher's back at it one more time. Here's your host, Ryan and Clay. They're about to bring you some sweet Overwatch action.
All right. Getting into episode 8, week 2 of stage 3. Ryan,
is it
how are
8
you, sir?
or is it 9?
Oh, are we on 9? Shit.
Okay, wait, I don't know which one it is. Let me see.
It's either 8 or 9. Yeah, that sounds good.
Close enough. They'll figure it out. They'll be able to.
8.5. Yeah.
You guys can read, right?
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah. Meet me in the middle there. So we had some stuff going down last week. We kind of touched on it at the end of the episode. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on this?
Have some thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't want to get too much into it. I'm sure everybody has, heard the news regarding Dreamcasper and all the details regarding that and allegations and so on and so forth. I think mainly what I wanted to, say for anybody listening is that, we're lucky enough where Overwatch is the type of game that's open to all ages, all genders, everybody, right? And we're seeing that in the league. Kaguri being on the roster, she has a lot of female fans. We have a lot of younger fans. There's older people there too that are supporting it, and that's something you don't see in a lot of games and a lot of sports. And with that comes the responsibility for everyone to be safe, right?
Yeah,
you want
absolutely.
a safe environment. And I just want to kind of do a call to action. If you notice anybody being taken advantage of, if you notice anything where someone is being, younger minds, or people with disabilities, anything like that, call that stuff out, point it out. There's Reddit, there's all these other avenues, but make sure it's known so that we can keep this kind of thriving big community growing and safe for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's as far as we'll go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's a Symmetra in your game, point that out too. I don't want to see that kind of thing.
Yeah, we gotta stop the nonsense.
It's funny you mentioned the diverse age group. I saw a guy in the crowd the other day. He looked like he was, I don't know, maybe early 50s, but he looked like he was with his 2 sons. But he was hyped, man, dude. He was in the front row. He was going off, but everybody in the chat put dad just the whole way. They were so excited for this guy to be there. He looked like he probably was just dragged there by, was it drag or drug?
It's dragged.
Is it dragged?
Yeah, man. I get it. We're in the South.
Yeah. You never know.
You never know.
I correct myself.
But
yeah, we had some other stuff happen this week. Had a patch come out.
Yes. Let's get to the fun stuff. Was it Archives and Retribution?
I think so. It was Uprising last time, so now they're changing it to Overwatch Archives, so we'll get something new every time.
Which is awesome. That's a cool concept. It's different from, we know when Lunar is coming out, Lunar Festival. We know when Christmas is coming. Yeah. But with this, they kind of make it their own to kind of celebrate, the anniversary.
Yeah, and we get some storytelling stuff.
Isn't it crazy we've only had Overwatch for 2 years?
Yeah, it seems
That's
crazy.
weird. It feels so much longer.
Yeah.
It's grown so fast.
Yeah, I played the beta for a year, so I feel like but we didn't have any events during the beta.
Exactly.
It was bare bones, man. It was sweet.
But yeah, so we got May. She got her buff where her frost stuff, or what is it called? The spray now penetrates.
Yeah,
so you can freeze groups of people.
Yeah, I've tried it out a couple times, man. It feels really fluid now because a lot of people, I don't know if you ever noticed when you're freezing somebody with May, if somebody ever hops in front of it, it canceled it. Yes. So you're like, man, now I got to start over. But now it continues to go. It's pretty sweet.
And it's funny because naturally Ryu Jae-hong started playing May, so I'm now playing May because he's our Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
And
way to hop on that bandwagon.
I've actually been doing the thing where, in point 2 situations where I need that May to kind of stall out point, I've actually turned a couple games around while I've been on ladder with that. So it's cool. I like the change. It's simple. It makes her ult function more consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit quicker, too. Yeah.
And Moira also got a buff more for her opponents because now she doesn't blind everybody.
Oh, dude, it was so bad for a little while there, right? Just like kind of cluttered the screen. But yeah, she made, I guess her ability is a little bit more transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Zenyatta got an orb speed reduction for his secondary fire, which I'm a support main, so I've been kind of playing around with that. It's not too bad.
Doesn't feel as bad now. No.
It doesn't, and Jonak has videos out there of him still just destroying folks, so it hasn't changed him at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought this was going to kind of, what is it going to do to his right click? I mean, is it going to bring it down quite a bit? Still fine.
Yeah.
Still fine.
Yeah, he's still all right. They showed a stat of him against Raucus the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, man. He outdid Raucus in that game. Whatever. It was bad. It was like he was up by 3,000 damage and like triple the amount of killing blows.
I think I might have asked this before, but is Jonak New York's best DPS?
Probably
one of their best DPS players, I think.
Oh,
I think he heals sometimes too.
Sometimes. I want to see his healing stats. I want to see his healing stats compared to everybody else.
Like, nah, I don't use that orb.
Nah, man. He's the third DPS player.
Yep.
But mainly the Reaper stuff, which you may want to talk to.
Oh, yeah. So his Death Blossom now reloads his shotguns. Pretty cool. Not a huge buff. The biggest buff he got was his Wraith form. Not only you can cancel it, which kind of puts you in some cool situations where you don't have to run away. You can kind of get around somebody, cancel it, get back in their face. And his Wraith form is just faster. It's up from 25% to 50%. So he moves a lot quicker, kind of like the Moira. Not as fast as Moira. I think I still like Moira's shift a little bit more because it seems like she gets out of there a lot quicker. But still a lot better as far as him being able to get away, for sure.
And there's some videos out there of him making certain jumps he couldn't make in the past while in Wraith form.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool.
It's like a 30-second video if you just want to hop on it's on the Reddit somewhere.
Yeah, okay, sweet. That sounds cool.
But let's hop into it, man.
Yeah, so getting into Wednesday.
We're going to start off with letting you guys know how awesome we are because, our predictive ability. This week we had 7 Game 5s. We told you the 3-2s were coming.
Yeah, they are. Especially after last week, where the last week, early of the week started strong. End of the week was a lot of 4-0s. So, nope. Ryan and I had to watch a lot of Overwatch this week.
A lot, because that's an extra match, almost or more.
Yeah. Getting into Wednesday, our first honorable mentions. San Francisco Shock versus Los Angeles Valiant. Valiant taking it 4-0. Pretty dominant there.
They're on a streak, aren't they?
Yeah.
Ever since the whole mix-up.
I think after this match, they had won 12 maps in a row. I want to say 12 maps in a row.
This is kind of similar to, just since we're sports, the Cleveland Cavaliers earlier this year. So the NBA playoffs just started, not to go too deep into it. But the Cleveland Cavaliers did something crazy at the end of trade deadline where they pretty much dumped half their team and then replaced them.
This. Nice.
Like halfway through the season, everybody thought it was nuts, right? Due to all the off-court stuff that was going on, and then their performance just shot through the roof, and they went on a streak. And that's exactly what Valiant is doing, which is impressive.
Can they put that to anything on the team as far as like a player base-wise, or? Ooh.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a case where contracts. It was mainly a lot of the off-the-field thing. It's damn near parallel to what Valiant was going through, right? With all the off-the-field stuff they were having and the issues.
Yeah,
and they decided to dump a bunch of people, replace them, do what they had to do, mix things up, and they benefited from it. So
that's awesome.
Valiant, we thought they were crazy when they did everything, and now they're kind of showing that they knew what they're getting to know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. So, it's still a lot of talent left on the team. I mean, they kept the core of their roster.
Yeah.
But cut the guys that maybe were not working well with the current lineup, and man, they're dominating. But yeah, that brings us into Shanghai versus the Gladiators, Los Angeles Gladiators.
Your boys,
Gladiators,
for now, until they mess up, and then you're off the bandwagon.
Yeah, you guys stay on top, and I'll keep rooting for you. But yeah, the Gladiators take it 4-0, bringing us into the feature match, which is Dallas Fuel versus Seoul Dynasty. Going into this, Dallas Fuel obviously still working out some things, kind of figuring out what is going to be their main roster. Going into map 1, Volskaya, They bring in AKM, and the commentators later on in the series, they bring up quite a few times that you have Rascal, you have Effect, you have these two awesome Korean DPS. Let's combo these guys. But they bring in AKM. I don't like it very much, especially on Volskaya. Soldier, not the best pick, and that's kind of what AKM plays.
But he's real good.
He is very good, but man, it's just so hard to get Soldier in spots where he's getting picks, kind of unlike a Genji, where Genji can kind of climb all over the place. But you had commented here, Seoul Dynasty's undefeated going into this one on Volskaya.
Yeah,
it's pretty insane. What'd you put here? Fleta.
The thing that's no, I was going to say that AKM, you bring up a good point about Soldier being in a rough spot, and we noticed that with Jake, he's been having trouble, and then AKM, but AKM is able to. His decision making is almost on another level with Soldier, and he makes it interesting. And I mentioned this weeks ago because we haven't talked about him for a while. But his timing is usually really solid to put him in a position where he makes up for the shortcomings that Soldier currently has.
Right. Where it's especially compared to, you had mentioned Jake, where AKM is definitely a Soldier specialist, and he can get himself out of tight situations, and obviously very comfortable in the character. It's just, man, point two, they both played Widowmaker point one, but point two, going in on Soldier versus a Genji, you almost kind of get left behind everybody else. Your tanks are jumping forward, your other DPS are jumping forward, and a lot of time your support is right there with your tanks. And as a Soldier, you're kind of left out there to I can kind of get in chip damage. It's very difficult for me to get to the support, and that's what we saw here. AKM just not able to get to the support until the very last when they've kind of killed everybody off. He's good at picking off people once they're coming back onto the point, and they're not contested pretty much.
Yeah, and that hurts them the first map, but
it does help them later on for sure.
Yeah, they stick with AKM and they move into Nubani, right?
Yeah, and this is definitely a Soldier map. All the high ground, all the long streets. Works out really well. You make a cool comment here, and I saw this later on when I watched it again. Fleta headshots Mickey as he's halting, which is kind of crazy because Diva is a tiny person.
Yes.
Dude, hard to hit. Headshots him as he's getting out of the mech, and then grapples the way to the bomb. Pretty insane play, dude.
It's super clean, nice. And they show his face, they show his camera while he's doing not a flinch, not a flinch at all. He doesn't. It's just another day at work, right?
Yeah. I had commented here that Dallas looked a little scrambled going into the offense. Everybody seemed to be kind of separated, where the DPS were on one part of the map, the tanks were on another part of the map. It wasn't a dive at all, and the support were on another part of the map. Kind of a slow push going into point two, but they don't get all the way to point three, do they? I don't think they do.
No, and
they get about halfway through.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about this is they get pretty close to point two.
Yeah,
and you would think, okay, well they're screwed, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't end up being the case. They, for some reason, when it comes to their coordination on offense, they struggle. But Dallas's Fuel's defense has gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
And this is almost the same case with I talk about later this week with Seoul Dynasty, where they're the same way, where their offense hasn't been great and it's been lacking and almost deteriorating, but their defense has still been airtight.
Oh, dude, Seoul Dynasty later in the week versus the Gladiators, that defense is insane, man.
There's no holes.
Yeah, just not letting anything go by, man. It was insane. But yeah, that kind of hurts them in the long run because they're not able to push it. They get halfway through point two. AKM's kind of got free reign on the top there, and he's able to just kind of pressure the back line a lot of damage onto the front tanks, and just gets his ult every single fight.
Yeah.
And that kind of lets Dallas Fuel kind of take over and win that one.
Yep. And then we move into our control map.
Yeah, which traditionally not great for teams like Seoul Dynasty or Dallas who have good, defenses. But I guess when they're both battling out, it's whoever takes a point and is able to win, right?
Exactly. So here we get our subs. Finally get AKM out of there. He got his 2 games in.
Yep.
We get Wakid in for Munchkin. Yep. And, Wakid, Junkrat Genji specialist. Sometimes he'll play the Pharah. Sometimes he'll play the Widow, which I always prefer he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those cases where, here the one thing that kind of stood out to me was Effects was plays Mei. And we've been seeing this. We've been seeing Mei popping up more on control situations, and then Ryu Jaehong will run him on Junkertown. But it's almost like it's a premonition or a precursor to is it Brigitte? Is it Brigitte? It's
Brigitte.
Brigitte?
Yeah, Brigitte.
Okay, well, Brigitte coming out soon, where she will essentially fill that role you see Mei in right now. We may still see Mei, but it's this kind of two-tank, off-tank, or main tank, off-tank, Brigitte, and then, one DPS, and is it two healers?
Yeah, probably two supports.
Yeah, like your two supports, one of them being Zenyatta, right? So you still have that damage in the orb.
Right.
Just for the burst down. So that was cool to see here for me.
Yeah, it kind of disorients Dallas as well, or Seoul going into it.
Yeah.
They don't know really what to do, and especially because they got on the point so early on. Once you get Mei on the point, man, it's so difficult to get her off because she's putting up walls that block off that. We're on the map where there's it's how do they describe it? But it's
village.
So you have that tight quarters. It's really difficult. A lot of people play fair on this map. But it's so difficult for Farrah to actually interact with anybody on the point unless she gets down low. And a lot of times we see her go in for a barrage, get maybe one kill and die.
And that's the interesting thing about that map is technically only your spawn point and your spawn areas are the open areas where you fight.
Yeah.
And this is a props to Dallas Fuel actually having some teamwork here where they force every fight on that point. Because of they have them they have that build style, so force them to fight on point, so it plays to your advantage, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think they played Orion as well too. So you got two big barriers kind of sitting in front of you. It's so hard to push in there. But Dallas takes the first one, and then we go into Sanctum on the second one, where we get Effect on Widow and Fleta on Widow, and it's pretty much Fleta's game to win.
Man. So I have the note here.
Yeah.
He was 70+% accuracy and crit on Widow.
That is insane.
Yeah, when he's like that, it's scary. I can only imagine. I know watching it how scary it is. I can only imagine playing and feeling that pressure.
It's funny because the commentators at one point mentioned their Effect has this ego about him when he's on Widow that he is like one of the best Widows.
Yeah.
And it's funny that they mention that as Fleta is coming around the corner. Effect is looking at God knows what and just shoots him right in the head. It's like, holy shit, dude. Doesn't let anybody.
Effect's known for, they need to take away his Twitter. Effect's known for being very emotional.
Oh, dude, please. Don't let this man. I thought about that in the gym this morning. I was like, dude, don't let this guy. I don't know, man. Just don't let him talk.
Yeah, just take away his account.
Yeah, especially through social media, man.
Or have a emotions jar or something where every time he feels sad or gets angry, he needs to put a quarter in the jar or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe get him into boxing or something like that.
He's outlet. But yeah, I mean, Dallas Fuel have problems on the next map, right? On the next round.
Yeah, they. I think Rascal runs to Farrah, just not able to get to the point first. And when you're playing Farrah on this map and you're not on the point and you're trying to push in, it's so much more difficult than playing against the Farrah.
Yeah.
So that gives Seoul Dynasty map 3, and they take Nepal going into Route 66, where we kind of see a different team right out of Dallas Fuel.
Yes.
The cart just never stops. Just keeps on rolling.
Yeah.
We got Rascal on the Genji. We got Effect on the Tracer, and they're diving. They're coordinating. Look like a totally different team.
Yeah, totally nuts, because that attack, that's what we just mentioned at the beginning, right? Is their attack was kind of lagging. And here, we always talk about Route 66, that third point. If you can roll through that third point with good time, it's great, because if you end up at that gate and you don't have any time in your bank, you're going to have a hard time.
Oh, absolutely.
But they don't put themselves in that situation, and it pays off.
And they never actually had to regroup at all. They had a couple of deaths at the end of point 3 where you're like, oh, maybe they need to come back in. But sure enough, they come back, and I don't think the cart stopped. It might have stopped for a second, contested, but dude, they were just rolling through it. And Seoul just not able to capitalize and do the same thing on offense.
Yeah, and we talked about, you talk about play calling, you talk about adjustments. we talk about Fleta got hot, right? Like he was on fire on Nepal. As pretty much was his warm up match.
Yeah.
And they immediately deal with it here in Route 66, where they don't allow him to get set. So what they do is because the commentators call this out, as you see it too, is where they have Tracer, Genji, and Winston rotate on harassment, right? So every time Fleta comes back or sets back up, they send one of those people in, never the same person twice, right?
Yeah.
And it completely throws off his game, and that's how they're able to stop Seoul Dynasty, because Seoul Dynasty is also having issues on their attack, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Fleta can't get hot, then it puts him in even a worse position.
Oh, absolutely. He's going for blades at some point during that, right when you open the gate there, after point 1, he's going for blades, and he's just like coming up so short. He's looking for one person, but he's got somebody he's got the Winston in his face, and then, like you said, the Genji will get in his face. Really does throw him off, and you can tell. Pretty sweet coordination. But yeah, taking it to a map 5.
Yeah,
they're punishing us, Ryan.
Our first one of the cast. I don't know if every one of our games are.
I think they're all 5s.
Oh,
I think
man,
they're all 5s.
We didn't even plan that either.
We didn't. No, funny. I brought it up to Ryan at the beginning. I was like, well, maybe we'll get a slower map out of the Florida. Not any spoilers. Florida, Boston, but no, sure enough, all 5s. Giving us all kinds of overalls. Bringing in the Oasis. You comment here that Dallas Fuel have one loss here on Oasis.
They have a good Oasis record. Which is benefit, but don't trust the stats.
Yeah, man, they will punish you. This looked like it was pretty much all Seoul Dynasty going into it, man. They kind of had a fire lit under the ass, and it just kind of dominated. At one point, the commentators mentioned that, like, oh, well, we're glad that Harry didn't use a sound barrier. Dallas Fuel has the point. They're at like 67, 70%, and it looked like they could kind of carry it with a sound barrier and continue to fight. Harry doesn't sound barrier. They're never able to get back on the point. Soul kind of just does what Soul does, and they just kind of defense up, never let you have any ground, and pretty much take map 1 and 2.
Yeah, I've never really seen Harry as much of a clutch in situations. Usually when I feel like, hey, you need to step up, he doesn't usually do that. He's not bad by any means, but it's just one of those scenarios. In these situations, Game 5 situations that we're getting into nowadays, you got to be able to, pull out all the stops at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to make sure you hit those sound barriers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just still kind of figuring out. He was a great Lucio player and great Soldier player in Contenders. Just kind of, obviously stuck on the Mercy for a lot of times. And now the Lucio a little bit more, just trying to figure it out. Yeah,
and like overall, we got to see OGE in the lineup, completely different. Like it's crazy how big of a difference he's made.
Absolutely. I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, so it's good to have him in here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we're getting a little bit more of a consistent roster, right? That's what Dallas Fuel has just lacked since week 1. Just getting the same 6 guys out there every time. They're just constantly rotating through people. I think Mickey at one point was like, man, I don't know who the main tank on my team is. And then one week I was the main tank. So it has made a huge difference getting a guy in there that's a shot caller and a main tank.
And, opportunity is everything in this league and in any sports league when you have it. And here, Zumba was out with a wrist injury. So we see later in the week, once they get him back, it makes a difference. But here, I feel like Dallas Fuel missed out on a big win here.
They were poised to win. And poised to... I don't know. I thought they were poised to win.
Yeah. I think they were in a position to capitalize, and they just did it. So they are getting better, so we'll see what comes down the pipeline. One thing I was happy about was Ryu Jae-hong playing as Ana, man. He played Ana a majority of this match, which is something we haven't got to see him do because, as we all know, Ana's in a very weird place right now. She's not underpowered. She's just in a weird place because of all the new characters that have come out, all the nerfs she's been given in the past, X, Y, and Z. Go check out the competitive Reddit. There's plenty of discussions. Throw in your 2 cents. But it was good to see her here because she's still strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this takes us into Thursday where we have, our 2 honorable mentions. So we have Boston Uprising versus New York Excelsior. Boston taking it 3-2.
Yeah, big upset here, I think. Right?
Man, especially after all the controversy that's been going on. They now have mistakes in, I believe.
Yep, Mistakes is kind of their secondary DPS, replacing Dreamcast.
Man, when you talk about someone who technically is a Tracer player, but they have Striker already, and he's now playing Widow and some other characters, and he's playing them very well.
Yeah,
Stepping up to the plate, definitely. You know, he's taking advantage of the opportunity that's been given to him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And some people are calling it an improvement. We'll see. But yeah, London Spitfire following up versus Florida Mayhem. London Spitfire kind of wrapping that one up with a 3-0 victory. And then it takes us into our main event, which is Philadelphia Fusion versus my boys.
Yeah, still your boys after this week, or
I'm loyal. You know, that's how this plays. Like good cop, bad cop. You're the bandwagon guy.
Yeah,
I have to stick.
Yeah.
I haven't bought a jersey yet.
I respect that, Ryan. Yeah. I actually own a jersey from every team, so now I can just, except for...
Yeah, you can swap them out as you need.
Except for New York. I hate those guys. They're too good. They're just too good.
They're too good.
Yeah. So.
But no, yeah, we hop straight into it. I mean, I have a lot of feelings about some of the decision-making towards the end of these games that we play as a Houston Outlaws, but I'll just get into it. So we have fact fiction now, right? New tank. You know, he fits. He's very I don't want to say vocal, but he's a very emotive guy on camera, definitely. But we get straight into it. Volskaya Industries, and naturally, Carpe is one of the best. We were talking about it earlier. I was texting Clay, and I was just like, dude, like Carpe needs a full paycheck. Whatever the veteran maximum is, whatever that 150, if it goes above that, give it to Carpe because he's
company car. Dude, get this man. Yeah, give him a pay raise.
Like he is so important. He is so
Could you
important.
Imagine putting Fraggy on your back as Carpe? He's a little guy.
Fraggy had a bad week. This week was not great for him. He was out of position a lot.
Yeah.
And we talked about if Fraggy's dead, they have a bad time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, let's focus on Carpe. There's on I think it's round 1.1 where Carpe gets like the first attempt on the first point. He gets 2 headshots on both supports and then gets a headshot on the main tank and done. They take the first point, right?
Yep.
So immediately I'm like, oh no, here we go again. But it kind of comes back, and the game rolls on, and the big standout point are these diva bombs. Like Cool Matt and Poco throughout this whole match are just trying to see who can play diva the best, because I don't think they have a bomb that doesn't get a kill.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is very impressive.
These aren't remech bombs. These are aggressive get kill bombs, man. I love to see those kind of things too.
Okay, I will say that Notes bombs later on this week.
Ooh.
Oh man.
It was a 3K man that
he had a couple of those.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. I'm just kind of hype. But no, so how this ends is actually, so after Poco gets a 2K bomb to protect point 2, right? This is round 2. And then right after, Cool Matt gets a 2K bomb that swings the fight back in Houston's favor, and they take it.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to watch.
Yeah, it was insane. I think when I was watching this, especially going into point 2, Philly has all this time in the world. You're like, oh, this is going to be easy, man. They're going to be able to take it. But Houston, with the fact fiction kind of leading the charge, splits everybody up. And you look at the supports and the tanks, you're like, dude, what? The supports are still outside the gate. Your tanks, well, Fraggy, he's all over the place anyways. I love that guy. He's out trying to get kills. But Houston does a great job splitting them in 2, man, like parting the Red Sea.
Yeah. But yeah, that wraps up that map. So that one goes to the Houston Outlaws. So we got a 1-0. And then we hop into Numbani, okay, so this whole map was weird, right? Not only because even the camera work, I don't know if you noticed, the camera work is kind of messed up. It was a little
odd, especially real early on point 1. You're like, man, where are they trying to focus? It's kind of hard to see.
I feel like it got lost on the observer end, and even the way the commentators were, everything was off about that match. Even the gameplay, because this whole Muma comes in for fact fiction by the way. So everybody's been chanting for Muma to come back. He's not completely gone. He's still great. He's always smiling. He's always having a good time. So he's in. But there's a lot of pressure on the DPS, especially Jake here. Jake's performance is kind of weird, and then they make him make some character choices makes some character choices throughout this match that I don't get. But They do a good job of pressuring him, right?
I definitely like his confidence when he goes into these characters like Genji and Soldier. But you, like me, Jake, are only good at Junkrat. Jake is actually really good at Soldier and Genji.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it compares to his Junkrat, though,
No.
and how good his disruptive Junkrat play is. And like I said, we'll see that later on, and we saw that in the past, man. His play on that character is very disruptive, and you have to play around him almost.
Yeah, and even the level of the league, like he's not a hydration, right? Like he definitely doesn't fit into that mold of being able to grab something. He's not Shaz. So
Shaz had been playing Mystery Heroes since the day it came out. That dude, he does it for fun. He's fucking with the team. Yeah, it's so good.
they should just change the Mystery Heroes title to just Shaz.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. You get the Shaz title if you win.
Oh man, but no, the crazy. So what makes it even weird is the majority of your killing blows on this map are between Rockets and Boombox.
Yeah,
So
that's all you
Zen-
see in the right hand corner. You're like,
Yeah, your
there's no
Zenyatta's are doing
DPS
most
on
of
these
the work.
teams. Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
crazy. But what it comes down to again is the diva battle between Cool Man and Poco.
There's really only two characters, aren't
There's
there?
only
It's
two.
Diva. I think that's what I thought when I was watching this game. I was like, really, we could just have just Diva versus Zen in the Overwatch League, and we'll be fine. That's all it is. Defense Matrix and Discord Orbs.
But yeah, this time Poco has the better bombs, puts them in a
Yeah.
better position, therefore they take this map. So now we're 1-1, right? And then we move into Ilios. So we're on our control map. So
Some
when we're,
boink.
yeah, when we're on control, Boink comes in. That's just how it works. And sometimes he performs better than others. It's one of those sub issues that we've talked about where we know he's coming in, but every time I'm just like, I get it's Boink, but still he takes a while.
Yeah.
He's not coming in hot.
Yeah, especially because you're playing a character like Lucio, which is not like a heavy character issue,
Yeah.
or a heavy character, heavy carry character.
You can do it.
Sorry, I can't spit it out. Right.
I believe in you.
So it takes some time to kind of get in the mold of things and what the speed of the game would be. He does get, is it this game or the next game? He gets a pretty big, I think it's against, who do they play later in the week? A big boop off the map, but I don't think it's against these guys.
Oh, no.
No, it is, right? Because he boops Carpe off map 1 at the very end. Beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, so Boink comes in, and Carpe, we don't even have much notes for this one, because Carpe goes nuts.
Yeah.
He picks McCree, and the whole map, he's 21-15 with 1 death.
Yeah.
And that's
we
eliminates killing blows.
just see Houston just struggles with these control maps weekly, you know?
Yeah.
It's so difficult for him because you got Linkser switching over to Tracer, and then sometimes you got Jake switching over to Tracer. It's never very consistent what they've got planned. I think Jake at one point switches to the Sombra.
Man,
and
I was. It gave me a stomach ache. I was like, "What is happening? Why is Jake on Sombra?"
I mean, he's demonstrated in the past that he knows how to play the character, but in this map, it feels like he never left the spawn. I hate to say it, man. It was rough. You got to EMP more than one person, Jake.
That's the point, Jake.
You might as well just solo hack them.
Exactly. It's fast enough.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like you said, Carpe really does carry this, especially on the point 2, which I don't know what it's called. It's the map where Widow gets played every single time. He never loses a duel.
Ruins?
Against
Ruins, sorry.
Ruins, yes, yeah. Never loses a duel to Linkser,
Yeah.
and that is a map that is carried by Widow.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we move into Junkertown, which you can see the grin on Jake's because he's always chewing gum, right?
Yeah.
You can see the big
I
grin on
love
his
the
face.
positive attitude, man. It's
Oh,
great.
yeah. They're always having a good time. The only person you'll see kind of get in his feelings is Raucus.
Oh,
And then
it's-
Linkser is a stone face killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get in Junkertown, which is Jake Rat's home turf, right?
Yeah.
And he goes off. Listen, when we talk about that, his Genji, I don't like it that much. It's all right. His Soldier is solid, but his Junkrat is just, you almost can't tell. It's like when Fraggy plays Reinhardt, right? You watch Fraggy's Reinhardt, and you look at Fisher's Reinhardt, you look at Gesture's Reinhardt, you look at Miro's Reinhardt, and you're like, what is he doing differently? Because he looks so much better than all of them, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely got to be like a confidence level thing. When you get on a character that you're really, really confident at, man, you just feel like you can perform so much. And you can get those picks and kind of get in people's faces. Where if you're a little bit, I mean, if you're not confident on Genji, dude, you're going to make some missteps and not get the picks you need, dude. But he, like you said, dude, he pops off. Yeah,
man, it's crazy. And we do have Bonnie subbing out, or Bonnie subbing in for Boink, and then we have Shadowburn coming in for Snilio. But it doesn't make a big difference here because this map doesn't take that long. They actually stopped them pretty short before the first point, I believe.
Yeah, I think both these maps, Ilios and Junkertown, are like 10 minutes combo. I don't like bringing in Shadowburn here. Yeah, map 4, Snilio doing really well throughout these whole things. I don't know.
He's ranked. I mean, he hasn't had as much playtime as other people, but he's still ranked second in the league for overall KDR.
That's insane.
Which is 2.72. He almost has a 3 KDR in the Overwatch League as a Tracer player.
Yeah, dude.
This is ridiculous.
It's crazy bringing in somebody else, especially replacing Snelio at that point, because like you said, those stats are insane. And map 4, just keep him in. Who cares?
The Shadowburn argument has slowed down on competitive Overwatch forums. Like, the support's not there like it used to be because it's just he's not doing what everybody thinks he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, I don't even care who it is at this point. It's map 4. You got somebody that's warm. I think a lot of people, including Jake, who a lot of times will switch over to these characters that you're like, okay, this is a soldier map. He has to play soldier. It's like, no, shit. Play what play what you want to, or what your team is comfortable with. I think that a lot of people think you have to play Junkrat on these maps because you got shields. Dude, just keep Snelio in there. Yeah, I think this is a different map. I don't know.
And then I'm happy you mentioned that. That's a good segue into the devastating Oasis map. So we get a game 5, and both times these teams have met throughout the league, they've played to game 5. So it's kind of expected. Okay, so Boyne comes back in because we're on control.
I think Snelio comes back in too. I didn't write it down here, but he gets subbed out or subbed back in for Shadowburn.
Yeah, a good decision, which Philadelphia has been making a lot of, as they've been in the playoffs. So
those are my boys. Those are my boys now.
Yeah, those are your boys. Are you calling the switch now?
Right now, just this map. We'll get to Gladiators later.
Okay,
in the week. Yeah.
But okay, so this is the craziest thing. So round 1, we're on Gardens. Okay, so Jake decides to play Pharah.
Yeah, and go ahead. Sorry.
No. But he plays Pharah, and I'm like, there's no justification for what he's doing. I get Gardens is a Pharah map.
Yeah.
But Carpe is playing McCree. That's going to happen. He does it every time. And he's been on fire lately on both McCree and Widow. So he's in point. And then you also are playing against a Poco who's been helping carry certain maps.
Oh, absolutely.
And his Devo Bombs has been on point. And Boombox, who just helped carry a previous map. So you have all this information at your disposal. You're in game 5. You're not blind. And you decide, I'm Jake, the unknown Pharah player. Let me play Pharah on this first map.
Yeah. And we saw it in the past pre-Overwatch League. He'd play a little bit of Pharah.
Yeah.
And I think this, again, comes down to he hadn't played it a lot recently. And like we mentioned on the last map, this is a Pharah map. We have to have a Pharah. It's like, no, guys, dude, just do what you know how to do
Exactly.
really well. And his Pharah is fine. And like I said, we did see it in Contenders quite a bit and saw him play Pharah. He knows how to play that just as well as Genji and Soldier. But he did a lot of splash damage. He gave a lot of alt charge to everybody else. Because on Pharah, if you're not getting picks, direct hit, direct picks, you're spreading a lot of damage across the entire team. You give your Zenyatta a ton of alt charge.
Yeah, and with the crazy part is with Shadowburn being subbed out, you also know that they're not going to try a pharmacy response.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
There's nothing. I don't know if coaching. I don't know if player fatigue. I don't know if it's just they weren't paying attention. But as a fan, as somebody watching who's like can point this out and be like, this is why this is a bad decision, and nobody of the 6 people said that.
Yeah.
I don't know where your mind's at because this is a big drop. This whole game, you literally have a situation where, and this is me ranting now, but you literally have a situation.
Rant, man.
Yeah, EQO is still suspended. That's a plus for us. Neptuno is dying way too much. That's a plus for us. So it's one of these cases where it's like, this is where you capitalize. Like, don't drop this because this is an opportunity. Just like I said, in the previous match where they dropped the match against Dynasty, right? The match we just talked about. That was their opportunity, right? Because Zumba was out. You have these situations where, like, this happens in a league. If you have injuries, if somebody's sick, if you have their main player on the bench, if he's not playing 100%, those are the games you need to win, because later down the road, it matters. Every game matters here.
Yep.
And that's the end of my rant. But we lost. Because we go to University's round 2. Frag gets to play Reinhardt, and he literally does not stop swinging. He doesn't. I don't think he puts up the shield once.
I don't think he had a shield.
I don't think he brought the shield.
It was some kind of error when he picked a character. Like, you don't get a shield this time. Yeah, he doesn't stop swinging. Gets alt charge immediately. I don't know, man. I'm ranting there with you because it's aggravating to see. And you'll see this a lot of the times in ranked. We're like, okay, this map. This is what you need to run on. And it's like, man, you're putting yourself in situations where you're not very comfortable. And if you're not comfortable and confident in this game, you're not playing as a team, you're not going to win the map. So, and,
I always go back to the Gladiators overall, when they made their switch and started doing better, right, was because they started adapting and they started doing what they had to do. And that's a mentality I was hoping would resonate, and it's starting to resonate because people are playing characters that they need to play for the situation, not for the map, right?
Right.
But a lot of people are being stubborn in these situations where I don't even know if this is stubbornness. I just think this is a miss. It's just a miss at a huge time.
Right.
I
mean, and when we say that about, Pharah and stuff like that, I mean, it's a quick map. You never are like, man, I need to switch. You always kind of think, man, I can capitalize. I can get my ult real quick. But by the time you figure out what's wrong, the map's already over. So you kind of you need to go into these things, I don't know, maybe something different. Think about something different, a different strategy. Yeah. And, we're not going to get into the follow-up match later this week, but we do it again. Where we drop, we play New York later in the week. We'll get into that honorable mention, and it's just the same thing happened. I'm not going to rant again about the same issue where that last map, it's like you have these opportunities and we just make poor decisions, and I don't know who's making that decision. Man, good would this?
What they need to do is give me a call before game 5. Be like, hey,
Ryan,
what should we do?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just like, hey, do this. Yeah, man. I don't know.
Man, this week would have been so good if New York lost twice. Oh, I would have been so ecstatic. It would have been great. Because I don't think New York has ever lost twice in one week.
No.
Ever.
I mean,
never. They have like three losses at this point?
Something
4
like
losses?
It's ridiculous. Their map differential's like 4,000.
Yeah.
That's exaggeration.
But overall, they have 3 losses. Never 2 losses in 1 week, man. This would have been insane. So.
But yeah, think about that. If the Outlaws got a win here against Philadelphia, and then we got the win against New York, that's a hype week.
Yep.
But anyways, let's move on.
All right, getting into Friday. First match of the day was Los Angeles Valiant versus Dallas Fuel, and I think this is the first map that Los Angeles has lost this stage was the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah.
So. Los Angeles take it 2-1. They do draw the first map out, which is kind of consistent, with Volskaya and Temple of Anubis and all these things in the rotation. But San Francisco Shock, Shanghai Dragons battle it out next, and hey, Shanghai does take a map. Looking up for them.
Oh yeah. Kaguri, just a shout out to her. She's been crushing it for
statistically wise, very good.
For someone who's not playing their main character. She's playing Diva. She's kind of playing towards the meta, but she's doing it very well, making good decisions, and helping the team overall. She's been a big add, and her fan base is just exploding as it should.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's fun to watch her.
Yeah, so I just said I was a Fusion fan last Los Angeles Gladiators. They bring it right back into it. They bring me right back in.
Yeah,
like I never left.
That's where you started. I get it. Yeah. You always go back to your roots.
Yeah, absolutely. Los Angeles Valiant or Gladiators, one of the two. Whoever's doing better that week. So we get Seoul Dynasty versus the Gladiators, and we headed off with Temple of Anubis, which is a terrible map. Terrible.
So bad.
Terrible viewing experience.
I think like Blizzard World, they'll probably make adjustments at some point now that they're making a precedence for it.
Maybe just level that whole middle part.
Just level the whole map and build a Walmart.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice. But yeah, so Los Angeles Gladiators have a great defense. I think they hold their first point up until like a minute left, going into overtime, and then we go to point 2, where you put. What'd you put here? Hydration has a well-timed deflect on Fleto's Widow shot.
Oh, that was cool.
Oh, that was going into the. Yes, going into the next point.
Yeah, so they took point 1 off of that because Fleta grappled to the back of the map or back of the point.
Yeah.
And then he went to get a shot, which would have been a headshot.
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah, Hydration jumps in front and deflects it and kills him, and that starts the whole roll of that first point, which gives him that 6-minute time bank.
Oh, yes, going into it. But like I had mentioned in the first part, Los Angeles held it to 2 minutes on the point 2. Mm-hmm. Did really well. Hydration did a killer job on Junkrat, just kind of keeping them at bay. But Soul does end up taking it with 2 minutes left. You're like, okay, cool. Los Angeles, plenty of time in the world. They take point 1, with 6.5 minutes
Something
left?
like that. It was crazy.
Just, you never even see that number on the
play.
timer. Yeah. You're like, holy shit, there's that much time left?
I didn't know there was that much time in the game.
Yeah. I think I wrote down here, they get the first 5 kills going into point 2. Everybody's still alive. They get the first 5 kills. They even get another kill after that, somebody coming out, and they still never get a tick. Never get a tick at 6.5 minutes. I will say Fleta does perform very well on the Genji. He
usually does.
Yeah, dude. Insane. Gets a blade every push Los Angeles is coming in.
That's crazy.
Yeah, pretty insane. Just built it every single time. Blades every single time. And usually gets 1 or 2 kills out of it. And that really does stop Los Angeles. But man, this map is shit.
It goes to show you can have a 6-minute time bank. And it won't pay off.
Yeah. Well,
map sucks.
Yeah. On a control point, if you get the first 5 fucking kills, you should have the point. This is so dumb. But hey, whatever. Seoul does show us they are one of these defensive teams, and a force to be reckoned with.
They're kind of, I would say, second to New York XL as far as defense right now. Because New York XL is still number 1 on defense, but they're giving them a run for their money. So if they can get that offense back on point, they'll be the Seoul Dynasty, remember, from stage 1.
Yeah. Yeah, so Seoul does take that one, get into Blizzard World. And as you comment here, Seoul Dynasty undefeated on this map. I mean, we only have a couple times on this one.
Exactly. But still.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And it is very defense-oriented, it feels like, because a lot of the defense can set up on these high grounds. It's hard to get to them. But it's cool if you notice Los Angeles takes this crazy route around the point, comes up, jumps right on them, able to take the point 1 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Which is pretty insane. But Hydration on defense, playing the Junkrat, able to kind of stall it out. And I comment here that he is rezzed 3 times, but he's rezzed when he is out doing his tire.
Yeah.
He's got the tire going. He's dead, but he's like, shit, okay, somebody rezzed me up. I'm going to go kill somebody with this tire. And they were able to out-defense probably one of the best defensive teams on the league.
And the 2 points we mentioned here is that, well, first of all, Gambler, even the commentators kind of saw this, and I was like, they brought Gambler in because he's a great Mercy, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Toby was fine, but that's why they have him there. And he hasn't been performing well. I'm sorry. It's just, it hasn't been like he brought this guy in for this.
Yeah.
And, he's made a lot of decisions. He's died almost. It reminds me of kind of how Neptuno's been having issues as well recently. That's the thing. Like that. And then we got to see Wakid's Widow, which I don't like. I never like it. I know it's Wakid starts with a W and Widow starts with a W, but that's not enough.
Right.
It's not great. And I think those 2 factors are what played here for them having trouble.
Yeah. I don't know. Gambler just kind of struggled to find his footing and just puts himself in these weird spots where he is able to get jumped on. You think about it's generally your Zenyatta that's the first one to get jumped on because he's out in the open. It's so hard for him to get away. But, dude, Gambler is getting hopped on. You can fly away. Fly away, man. Fly away. But, yeah, Los Angeles wraps this one up pretty quickly. Just playing a better defense. That's kind of what that map comes down to.
Yeah.
Bringing us into Nepal.
Man, we have a lot of notes for this. Listen, Nepal was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts. But Los Angeles Gladiators, man, great at control maps.
Yes. Yeah,
So-
they've shown that. And, even here it says that, on Nepal for this league, or on Nepal for the league, hydration is first on hero damage and second on killing blows.
Yeah.
That's a big stat here. And that helps them.
Yeah, which is kind of weird going into this map. We don't see hydration on the Pharah going into it, where he's very comfortable on that character. That Doomfist and Genji kind of his main three, but we definitely know his Pharah. He doesn't start on the Pharah, but Soul does, and like I had mentioned in past maps or matches, that if you start on the Pharah, you take the point. It is very difficult to take that away from the team. It's so hard to get onto that point when the Pharah is splashing down all this damage on you. Exactly. Eventually, hydration does switch over.
Yeah, but on Shrine, so round 1 on Shrine, it's just too late.
Yeah, just never able to get back on there.
Wakid has a great play here. So when Wakid's not playing Widow, he's playing Pharah, and he has a great 3K rocket here. He does it when Shaz is at 99% to trans. And it's great because Shaz literally gets trans and dies.
Yes, I remember this. This is insane.
And then they wrap up Shrine, and then they just kind of take over LEG, turn it around.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because Soul does tank the point. What is this map called? Sanctum? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they take Sanctum initially, and you're like, okay, you got Wiki on Junkrat. You've kind of got this Orisa set up. It is very difficult to come back and take this. But yeah, Soul does, or Los Angeles does end up getting back on the point and just never let them get back.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy going at, they're both at 99. Soul's about to hop back on the map, and Bishu, did you see this, goes over the top? Yeah, with the 3-pointer, just hits them over the top. They're like, oh shit, we can either run into Los Angeles Gladiators, who are sitting here on the point ready for us, or we can get bombed. And 2 of them end up getting bombed, and you're going in this 4v6. You're not taking the point.
Yeah, none of that per situation. Then we follow up with, round 3.
Oh, this was a sweet comp, man.
It was.
It was like, dude, how much HP is that? So we got a Rhine. Would we have a Diva and a Roadhog? So we just got like 1,200, 1,300 HP sitting up front in front of all these guys.
So my question to you is that is Surefour the best Roadhog in the league?
Oh no, not the best Roadhog. I mean, he is very good and he gets some insane hooks. I got to give it to Maniton.
I was just about to say it's either him or Maniton.
From Florida, because Maniton is very vocal about wanting to play more Roadhog because that dude is insane on Roadhog.
Okay.
But, kind of on a weird spot.
I threw it out there.
Surefour does look like a Roadhogs on this one.
Yeah.
Because he gets a hook on not only a Pharah that looks like maybe a little bit out of the range of a normal hook. My hooks for sure.
They make your hook shorter, though.
They do. Yeah. Like, how about 6 feet? I'm like, okay, I can work with that. But he also gets a hook on, I'm not sure who was on the Moira at that time, but it was Riju Hong. Got it on the Moira who's alting. Yeah. And just shuts the alt off. Yeah, dude, it was insane.
They're all high impact hooks.
Dude.
Like, very smartly timed.
Yeah, and Soul just never touches the point, man. Just too much HP. It's a lot of HP, man.
I'm hyped for the Brigida meta. I think it's really gonna shake things up, especially for the control variant. Yeah, and it's gonna be exciting to watch.
Yeah, it will be cool to see, especially she's kind of a slow character. She's kind of like your Roadhog. We're
gonna see more Lucio again.
I think we need Lucio with her. I think her Reaper, maybe a tank Reaper Lucio Moira comp, probably pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy.
And I think we're already seeing that kind of gauge. Like, you can tell a lot of the comps now are gauging towards her coming out, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. It will be next season and next stage, I think, before we see her. But that brings us to Junkertown, the Outback.
The Outback.
Yeah, so I think Soul starts on offense, and we get to see Riju Hong on his Mei.
Hey.
The offensive Mei, man. Like
he's making it looks better than last time, and it was good. He did well last time.
Yeah, he does. He gets some quick headshots, and he's great with that wall. He really is. I don't know about you. I put walls up wherever I want.
Where I want them to be.
I'm like, I kind of want to get up on this ledge. I know it makes no difference to the game, but I'm getting up on this ledge. They're like, what are you doing with that wall back there, Lap? I'm just like, I'm getting on the wall. But yeah, he's putting it up in front of people. He put it up in front of, I can't remember who was on. Surefour on the Widow at one point. Surefour kind of popping off. He throws it up right in that dude's face. Dude, that'll mess you up on a Widow.
Yeah, it's all, you always see it, like, because the two big Meis you've probably seen, or we have seen, is Hydration and then Ryu Jae-hong. That's your most play time so far. Yeah. And you can tell the difference of how a support player plays Mei versus how a DPS player plays Mei, because the styles are completely different. Yeah. Both serving their purposes and both being played well, but it's definitely cool to see that difference.
Yeah, he's not aggressive by any means. He's not in a lot of people's faces. He is using that character as someone that's going to disrupt the front line. So kind of separate the tanks from the support, which is cool. Cool to see. But they go into point 2 with Mei, and he's just never able to get his ult off. He switches back over to this Zenyatta at one point. Because point 2 Mei, not as good, it seems like, because you got all the high ground, the defense is able to set up on, not as good. So he switches over, and it makes a big difference.
And he usually switches over immediately. He took a little bit longer this time.
Yeah, because he had that ult, and I know he probably wanted to get it off.
I get it. And he kind of forced that ult, too. So,
yeah.
But yeah, this one was interesting because they didn't get it far. But there was a point, and this is why, we talk about that, their defense and their attack and where they kind of struggle. And there's a point here where they have both support ults go off at the same time, which should never happen here. Like,
you kind of groan a little bit. You're like, shit.
Yeah, because immediately when it happens, when the ults end, Hydration pops Blade. Yeah. And you see the mess that he causes.
Yeah, kind of pucker up a little bit like, shit, dude, we got nothing for this.
Yeah, and then they punish them afterwards.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because going into offense, Los Angeles Gladiators, they're like, oh, well, Seoul didn't push it very far, but Seoul's also very good at defense. They put the Bastion on the cart, they push point 1, they've got so much time.
Yeah.
So much time going into point 2. And I don't think they ever get it under the bridge. They just kind of just waste away there.
Yeah.
And it was rough to watch. It was rough to watch.
Yeah.
Just not coordinated. It seemed like it disrupted them so much, they were never able to get back on that card. But that's what Seoul does, man. Seoul in New York, man, they play a defense that will kind of disorient and discourage you from pushing the card.
Exactly.
So.
But yeah, and then we move into our map 5, right?
Yeah. Yeah, map 5.
All these map 5s, man. It's crazy. It's crazy that's actually happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is where we get to see, what's the inside map called with the thing in the middle? I can never remember the actual individual control map names, but it's the inside. It's got the hole in the middle, the big mega underneath it. But
Sanctum.
We get to see Sanctum. Okay, so we get to see Fisher on the Reinhardt. They push onto the point really early. I think they were playing a Junkrat as well. Los Angeles was. Oh, yeah, Hydration was on the Junkrat.
Wait, sorry. This is Oasis?
Oasis, yeah.
I'm sorry. It's Wells.
Well, that's what it's called.
My bad.
So they get on the point real quick and put out a lot of damage. And at one point, Fisher, did you see this point where he sneaks around? He hops down in the middle, comes all the way around. And you're like, dude, this guy is a big dude. How do you sneak around like that?
Oh, actually, you know what? I lied to you. Sorry, it's University.
Fuck. Now you're just fucking with me.
I'm just fucking with you. No, it's University. Because I remember when you mentioned the Fisher, I was like, nope, that's University. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because all the books and whatnot.
Yeah.
People are learning here.
Knowledge.
Well, they need to learn to turn around because that big around,
that big ass
hole. Like, dude, how does this guy sneak all the way around?
Exactly.
But he sneaks around, gets a huge shatter on these guys, and really sets them apart from other Rhines, man. Except for Fraggy. Well, Fraggy's not very sneaky. That dude's in your face.
I'm telling you, man. There's like this. There's a second tier of high tier Reinhardts, and then there's Fraggy.
Yeah.
he's doing something. He's eating something different that morning.
Yep. But that gets us to the second. Yeah. Los Angeles wins this overall. Point 2 just kind of looks like Seoul Dynasty, a little shaken. They're just not. There's not a team made for control.
Yeah.
Because if they're not on defense, it's kind of hard for them to take over. They play a Farah, and who was on? I think Fleta wasn't on there because I can't remember who. Wikid maybe was on the Farah.
Probably, yeah, most likely.
Yeah, and just never gets any picks. Kind of spreads the love amongst the whole team.
Yeah, and I mean, here, excuse me, I put that Seoul Dynasty has a lot of C9 moments, but not on defense. It's on attack, where either they're not touching the control point, or they're not touching the cart, or like they put themselves in a lot of situations on attack. They're just weird. You can see the look on their face, especially Miro. He had a look on his face every time that, like, oh, it flipped, but we weren't on the cart and we had 4 people alive. What?
That's a face you don't want to disappoint either,
yeah,
right?
Every time they cut straight to
so
him.
upset, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like a kid not getting a Christmas gift on Christmas morning.
But no, I mean, Gladiators, your boys, they step up here, man. They took advantage of an opportunity. Shoot, Zumba was back. Zumba was back from injury, so...
Yeah, they really... And this is a team that looks very... Like, they can adapt very quickly. I love that Hydration has this hero pool that is kind of obscure. It's a little annoying that the only time we get to see Doomfist is in, like, these high-pressure, we need to get back to the point scenarios. And like you had brought up earlier, May's kind of the same way for a lot of people. I want to see those characters more frequently, but generally the only time we get to see those characters is like, oh, shit. Somebody get back to the cart. We're about to lose. Yeah. Somebody pick Doomfist or May or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Los Angeles wrapped that one up with a 3-2. Another 5.
So we get into our final day of the week. And this day was kind of, I mean, this is where we wrap up our day of 3-2s, right? Yeah. So we start off with our honorable mentions. So we have London Spitfire versus Philadelphia Fusion. Fusion taking it 3-2. Yeah, man, they're still good.
Yeah.
And then we move into a disappointing game, which I've mentioned before. New York Excelsior versus my Outlaws. New York Excelsior take it 3-2 because once again we hand away that map 5 just in disgraceful fashion.
Dude, could have won. This was so rough to watch, man. Towards the end, you're like, oh, dude, they're gonna do this. They're gonna give New York their second loss this week. Man. No, they're not.
No, maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll get it together. But moving to our final map, and this one was interesting because it's definitely one of those cases we talked about. If this map sucks, we'll just do the New York Excel fight. And it didn't really suck. It was a 3-2, but it was 2 maps where each team just rolled the other, sort of.
Yeah.
And it's more of an overarching theme. So it's Boston Uprising versus the Florida Mayhem, and the big theme here is mistakes on the Boston side and Saya Player on the Mayhem side. These 2 guys just out of their mind, right? Mistakes coming on after all the controversy that's happened with Boston, still playing up to the stage quality. But yeah, we get to Temple Anubis, one of the worst maps ever. And, Stryker does his job as usual, kind of, holding the Mayhem back on junk, but Mistakes is just picking people off. He does have that one play at the beginning where he gets picked. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, right at the beginning.
And the commentators are like, well, he won't make that mistake again. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to happen forever, isn't it? These puns are going to be made constantly. But no, he comes back and is just picking heads. Very impressive.
Absolutely.
And like I mentioned before, Mistakes came into the league as a tracer player. But Striker is your tracer player, so we're not going to see that much. But his Widow is solid, and his Genji as well is solid, as we see here, where it's almost like every time he picks a character, he has that one kind of faux pas where he gets picked or whatever, and then he just goes off, right? It only happens once. He only makes one mistake, and then he turns up. That's his key. But yeah, Boston takes Temple of Anubis. We move into Blizzard World, where this one was also kind of weird to watch. I felt like outside of Notes, Crazy Bomb, everything else was just kind of middling. Does that make sense? Like, it was just like the cart was kind of moving and then it wasn't. And then it would kind of like you have 2 skirmishes and then it would move. There's no really.
Yeah, it definitely seems like one of those maps people are trying to still figure out, right? They're just, I don't know, positioning and stuff like that. A lot of people seem separated. Mistakes does really well on the Sombra at this point. We haven't seen it before. He gets some big EMPs. Maybe your boy Jake needs to talk to this dude.
I don't know. Jake doesn't need to touch Sombra. Jake, he should never pick
okay,
Sombra.
okay. That's
never.
fair. That's
if anything, let Linkser, because Linkser's played it before as well. And when Linkser plays it, that makes more sense to me for some reason.
Maybe a mistake will just play, hey, Jake, just play Junkrat, man.
Just play Junkrat.
Yeah.
They literally don't lose when he plays Junkrat. Just keep
insane.
doing that. Keep doing that until you start losing playing Junkrat.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
But no, that note bomb, man, I could watch that replay over and over because the way he lobs it, the arc is perfect, and there's literally nowhere you can run in that situation.
Yeah. Well, and it's perfect because Mistakes EMPs him right before this.
Yes.
So the Winston bubble can't come down. You can't use any kind of movement ability to get away. And you're just kind of like, man, you're kind of sitting out in the middle of nowhere just getting destroyed.
Yeah. And, so Boston take this one as well off the back of those two performances. And then we move into Nepal where, we didn't even break this one down by round because Saya player just channels his inner Carpe. And boy, that McCree skin a lot of people might start buying that McCree skin now.
But it's definitely
insane.
awesome. Yeah, definitely awesome to get to see McCree getting played. You don't get to see him very often, but when you get to play Protect the McCree, and especially a McCree like Saya player, he's finding heads, he's getting these picks like that. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Really cool to see.
So Sire player pretty much carries them through this one. This is a pretty quick one as well.
Yeah.
And if you've seen Carpe play, that's pretty much what it looked like.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Just for Florida. So Florida takes Nepal. So now we have a 2-1. And then Junkertown, Sire player showing up again now on the Widow. And it's just, what you notice this with hit scan players. When they get in this mode where they're picking heads,
Oh,
you can't
they
stop
continue to do it,
Yeah, until we talked about earlier how certain teams were able to adjust when Fleta gets hot like that. They start flanking him and start putting him in a confusing situation to take him out of that mode, right? It's like you remember NBA Jam, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so in order to, when he's heating up and then he's on fire, you have to make sure he's either pressured or make him miss a shot or block a shot so his fire would go away. Same thing,
absolutely.
Same concept, right?
Yeah, because he, especially point 1 and 2, man, he just is constantly a terror for Boston because he just keeps getting kills on these on the supports, and everybody has to keep backing up. It's not until point 3 where they're like, all right, dude, somebody do something about this guy. He's killing everybody.
Yeah, and then this is, these last two maps, you noted here that Mistakes is almost quiet. Compared to his first two maps where he's fragging out of his mind, here he's just kind of middling. And it's the case where, we talk about Striker. We've always talked about Striker, where Striker is one of those players that feeds off of the energy of his duo partner.
Yep.
Where he's going to perform at whatever level that other person's performing at. So even though he's a great player, he's very dependent on his own performance.
Right.
So here, when Mistakes goes quiet, he goes quiet as well, and they struggle. But yeah, so Florida takes advantage of that. Sire player on the back of that, they get their second win. So now we're into another Game 5, right? Just to mention again, we had 7 Game 5s this week. That's ridiculous.
Hey, we're complaining. Imagine the commentators for this Saturday. London Spitfire versus Fusion Game 5s, New York and Outlaws Game 5, and then another one back to back. Dude, they were there all day.
And they're getting the same paycheck that they were getting if it was, a 4-0 roll.
Let's get Shanghai out here a little bit more often.
So I can go home.
Go home on a Saturday
Go home to
afternoon.
my family.
Yeah.
But then we move into the tiebreaker Oasis. Who would have known we would have saw so much Oasis this week?
Nice map.
But this is just Flank City. So Mistake steps up, right?
Yep.
And then Striker steps up with them, and they just terrorize.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Mistakes, especially on the Sombra, man. Getting in the back line, really high impact. Even 1 or 2 man EMPs are big, especially when they're on supports like the Zenyatta, because he just picks them off instantaneous. And they just never can capitalize. They can just never – Florida is never able to get any picks on these guys, so they're just running rampant on these dudes.
And Florida usually struggles when you don't have Saya player or Saya player. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I apologize. But when you have him – playing at that at his peak, they can squeak out control maps, but they do still have trouble on control maps.
Yep.
And part of that is because their support duo is not the strongest. Nebosai and Zupe they're all right. They fit the bill, but in this situation, when you have 2 flankers that are just doing work, and then you don't have, Awesome Guy's in there now, and I think they have Manitan right as the other tank. Yeah, they're fine, but they're definitely more aggressive tanks, so they're not protecting your supports.
Yeah.
So when your supports don't have the skill set like a New York Excel would have to defend themselves and help themselves out, you see how Ark and Jonak usually work together to push back.
It's definitely a lot of pressure on those guys.
It's a lot of pressure, and that pays off here for Boston. They close it out and, keep Florida in their place. They're like, hey, we got better first. We're going to take this one.
Yeah.
You guys keep working on it.
It's kind of crazy because watching this whole thing, they never mention Dreamcasper's name.
Oh, God, no. Yeah.
I don't know if it's... I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. Do you think that's because of some kind of legal issue or just... Don't give him any recognition at all.
Yeah, and I think that's that makes sense as a business.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
even us...
Don't even associate it with it, right?
Yeah, I felt kind of bad, just on the record, because last episode, we talked a lot about Dreamcasper, right? And it's one of those cases where everything happened right after we released that episode.
Yep.
And even then, I felt kind of, I was mad, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, how do we know?
Yeah,
I do think the coolest thing I did see this week was if you did buy a jersey that had Dreamcasper's name on it, the company that makes those into the AM will let you get a different jersey.
That's what's up. That's cool.
Yeah, they don't have to do that.
Yeah, they don't. That's smart.
I thought that was pretty sweet. Yep.
And that plays back to what I said at the beginning of the episode, right? Is like let's focus on the after. Let's focus on the resolution. Let's focus on what we do moving forward to protect people, and try to make sure like this doesn't happen again. Or if it does happen, that it comes to light faster.
Yeah, and Boston's still looking good.
Yeah. Boston, they're a whole group of guys. A lot of people were affected, and them being one of it. But they're not at fault for what happened. So I hope they continue the streak they've had. And they are. Yeah. Mistakes definitely stepping in like that. That's a good example of somebody being given an opportunity and stepping up and making the best of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely some silver lining at the end. So.
Yeah. The only thing I wanted to touch on before we get out of here was the final standings after this week.
Oh yeah.
Stage 3 final standings. We got Los Angeles in number 1. Los Angeles Valley at number 1. Boston number 2. New York 3. And Los Angeles Gladiators number 4. So only one mainly Korean team in the top 4, which is kind of unusual. Especially
definitely.
compared to the last 2 stages.
Yeah,
and New York wasn't even in the top 4 until I think. Oh yeah, your boys gave them a win.
You know what? I don't need this. I don't go on this show to be abused.
Ryan, it could have been Philly, it could have been Los Angeles Gladiator, and the Valley, and the Boston. But no.
Oh man. I don't. We'll not go down that path. You know what?
That's fair.
We want to hear. It's been a crazy week overall. And we want to hear what you guys think. So, naturally, you can still reach us at Gmail. Shoot us an email, something quick, something simple. We're not good at reading, so
I can't read.
You can get us at thebirdwatcherspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter or follow us at Twitter and tweet at us at The Bird Watchers. Watchers is spelled WATCH3RS. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube at The Bird Watchers, and on Reddit and Instagram at The Bird Watchers Podcast. Shoot us messages, ping us, call us stupid, do what you want. But yeah, definitely, we always a special thanks, to the Lizard King for the music, awesome tunes at the beginning and end. If you guys make it to the end, trust me, it's worth it. And then,
that's a sweet one.
Yeah, and then you guys for listening.
Absolutely.
Listen to us ramble for an hour because we're gonna keep doing it.
Oh yeah.
We're not stopping until we're at negative listeners. We're not gonna stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, another week down, guys.
Yeah. See, we'll see you next week, guys.
Yep. Take it easy.
Bye.
I have destroyed more of your kind than I can count.
You weren't given those guns to toss them around like trash.